Welcome to
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? How you
I
doing?
talk about so many different things
How you
concerning
been?
life and living and
What's
also
going on?
interviewing unbelievable
What's
people in
good?
the stories of life.
Are you
Please
getting it
subscribe
in?
and check me out.
Somebody
Leave a
getting it
whole
for
bunch
you?
of reviews and wishes and welcome
What's
to the
going
Integrate Podcast
on,
Clubhouse. You can
people?
follow me on Instagram. See you
Subscribe
later.
to my channel.
Okay, I come to you with bad news. We lost one of our sisters. Her name was Camila. Now, she's a transgender woman that's deported from the U.S., murdered in El Salvador. Now, this story has been reported as of February the 17th, 2019, and I want to share this with you. Camila died at the hospital in San Salvador, El Salvador, February the 3rd, 2019. Local activists told the Washington Blade she migrated to the United States receiving death threats from where she was being reported from, but they ended up deporting her back to El Salvador. Now, the editors note a Spanish version in the story of El Salvador, a correspondent, Ernesto Valle wrote was published in the Washington Blade website back in February the 16th. The article had been updated with additional information about Camila and her deportation to from the U.S. San Salvador, El Salvador, a transgender woman who was deported back to native El Salvador, died earlier this month after she was attacked outside of the country's capital. Now, Salvadorian trans active group told the Washington Blade that Aurora, who also known as Camila, had been reported missing at the end of January. The group looked for Camila and various hospitals and eventually learned she had been admitted to Roselle National Hospital in San Salvador, the Salvadorian capital, on January the 31st with multiple injuries. Camila passed away on February the 3rd. She was found in above the municipal of Sepango outside of San Salvador. It remains unclear what really happened to Camila. Activists with whom Blade spoke says threats that Camila receives prompts her to travel to the U.S. with one of the migrants caravans that left Central America last year. They said that the U.S. deported Camila and said she had been in El Salvador for about 4 or 5 months before her death. She migrated to the U.S. because of threats that she had received, but was deported because they didn't believe her. Now, Ellison, an independent LGBTQI rights advocate, told the Blaze Camila is the second trans woman reported killed in El Salvador this month. Now, a trans woman who was named by Lolita was killed with a machete back in February the 8th. The murder took place in Sonsonate. The trans rights organization don't have any additional information. El Salvador National Civil Police and the country's Attorney General has not classified either murder as a hate crime in a part of because of Lolita and Camila died in a public hospital where the reports that were made not mention they were victims of violence. It says that we want justice and that their case are investigating the perform Gentel code as far as procedures and to apply when when those who are responsible and found. Trans Project Coordinator Ambar told the Blaze, referring to 2015 amendment to El Salvador legal code that enhances penalty for hate crimes based on sexual orientation and gender identity, although we have begun this year very badly. We hope these crimes establish percent for there also being a positive legal framework as far as regulating the situation of trans people, especially the situation of violence and insecurity. The lack of action on the part of the judicial system, and investigate the hate crime created and the widespread feeling that anxiety among El Salvador LGBTI activists. This is unfortunate that although we have articles in the penal code that allows the classification of the classification of crimes committed against trans people as a hate crime, they are not put into practice. Miss Trans El Salvador 2018 Tatiana Molina, who was also an LGBTI activist, told the Blaze such in a cause of all the crimes that have been occurred in recent years, specified the cases of Camila and Lolita. That is why we're demanding justice and prompt investigation and prosecution of these cases. In the case of anti-LGBTI hate crimes, and the lack of prosecution on them has sparked increased fear among community members. I feel outraged, insecure, even more so. I'm afraid of the reaction of homophobic and transphobic people who can harm us while walking in the street, says O'Day. Activist groups have made formal complaints in both cases, but it remains unclear whether the investigation into those may have been response has begun. A spokesperson for the National Civil Police has not returned Blade's request for comment. El Salvador, which has one of the world's highest capital murders rate. Thousands of people, including trans women, who are even more vulnerable to violence and gang members, police, and family members because of their gender identity, have migrated to El Salvador in hopes of reaching the U.S. in order to countries that include even Mexico. The Blade earlier this month confirmed that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement was housing 45 trans women in privately run detention centers in Texas. Some of the detained trans women from D.C.-based Kasai Ruby and working with providing housing are from El Salvador. Okay. I want to share that with you. Forgive me if I mispronounce these names, because it's not really done in English, so it's kind of hard to read this stuff. But she was running from El Salvador. She had a threat of her life. She made it to the U.S. And allegedly they didn't believe her that she was being hunted or going to be murdered. And they deported her back. 4 months later, she's murdered. Allegedly. Well, not allegedly murdered, but I don't know about the 4 months of how long it took before they figured out that she was passed over. They said on January the 31st, and with multiple injuries, Camila passed away on February the 3rd, which is this month. So, all I can say is rest in peace. She had been reported missing since January. And when they found her, she was already dead. She was the second trans woman reportedly killed in El Salvador this month. This is the thing. A person living in their truth, running away from help. Now, clearly, if she felt safe in her own country, she would have stayed there. But clearly, she didn't feel safe that they were going to try to help her. So she ran away to the U.S., of course, getting killed. She didn't want to be murdered. I think that's reasonable. Anybody who don't want to get murdered, they run from being murdered. That's not uncommon to one human being. But allegedly, the United States didn't believe her, and they deported her back. And now she's dead. I just don't understand so many things in this world, and I probably never will. If somebody's coming to you crying for help, why would you put the victim right back in the killer's arm? Why would you do this? Is a human being asking for help. They want to live. Is that so wrong? Well, you gotta live the right way. You just can't think you could come over here and not live the right way. We gotta send you back. If you die, you die. It's amazing how people see things. But when it's their turn, please hear me out. Y'all just don't understand. You're just, oh, but you can make sure you don't care about this person being murdered. But when your turn comes, you want everybody to have empathy for you because now you're in the same shoes of the people that's been murdered. A lot of people are not going to care about this video. That's the sad part about it. Some of you will, but a lot of you won't. A lot of y'all so deeply rooted with y'all hate, y'all don't even see people as human no more. I don't know how we got here, but I hope this sickness don't keep spreading. Anyway, like I said before, I let y'all be the voice for this because I cannot mentally deal with this, and I don't even, the thing about it, it becomes time when I'm doing these deaths and stuff. I really be wanting to do anybody really care when these girls get murdered? Do they really care? Will we get a Jussie Smollett outrage like they're doing with him? He's all over because he's the only person in the world that's having problems and nobody else. If they got so upset over every trans woman being murdered the way they're doing with him, it would bring so much attention. It would bring so much attention to these girls being murdered. And they would probably say, that's enough. That's enough. But no, they're busy doing other things and we'll get murdered on the sideline and get paid no mind. And I'll have trans women signing on saying, well, you know what? That's just her. Who cares? A trans woman will say that. Trust and believe. Until her turn comes. And I'm not saying all trans or all people. And I'm not saying all people, but look how long ago. We're talking about January. I'm doing this story on February the 19th, 2019. I'm just getting this story. And she's been dead. And this is the thing that people don't understand. I do these videos and stuff, and a lot of these girls being murdered, y'all would never even know. If it wasn't for me putting that stuff together, y'all would never even know about these girls. These girls are you. They are the mirror image of you. Their life is like your life. Their struggles is like your struggle. And some of their struggles are way worse than yours. But she's you. Some are like, well, she's not me. She'll be you when your time comes. Nobody realized how much work I put into this to get the awareness out here for people who are cisgender who don't even know about these girls being murdered right underneath their feet. There is no outcry for her. She just silently, her and the other girls, just fade away. How many deaths have I done? Y'all watched them even see? Have y'all ever seen them on the news? Have y'all saw the deaths I've done on the news? I reported tons of deaths. Tons of trans kids committing suicide, transgender being murdered, When has y'all seen those on the news? You know why? They don't really see us as like real. Oh, well, they got what they deserve. What did they expect? They expected to live. They expected to be happy. Their life has nothing to do with you. Let people be people and leave them to be. Help people. Don't hurt people. Unfortunately, I can't change the world. And I will be attacked as well, too, by my own LGBTQ. Would I be surprised? Absolutely not. Because nothing shocks me anymore. Because when you're woke, you see everything differently. Beautiful woman living her life. Murdered. No one would even know about this story. I'll click to find videos on her, even on YouTube. I see nothing. However, I'm making sure I do this video for you, my sister, to show your life, to show you it's here, to show you it's a gift, and your presence will not be ignored. Anyway, like I said before, the family in my prayers, and like I said before, I love your feedback in this. Like, subscribe, share. At the top, this Instagram button. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. Let you know I love you, and thank you for watching, Kesseray.